This Old House Radio Hour is supported by the Home Depot. Whether you're tackling a kitchen upgrade, organizing your garage, or building out that back deck, it's important to keep your projects on track. Fast, free delivery from the Home Depot makes it easy to keep things moving in the right direction. If you're just starting out or you're stuck in the middle, the Home Depot has same-day and next-day delivery, so you can get what you need fast. Maybe you need a tool, more materials, some extra paint and supplies, or a battery to power your way through that project. Whatever you're working on, get fast, free delivery from the Home Depot. How doers get more done. Order select in-stock items by 4 p.m., subject to availability.
You've put time and care into your home projects. Don't settle for just anything on your walls. Original art is what takes a room from finished to truly complete, and Saatchi Art is where to find it. Browse thousands of affordable, one-of-a-kind artworks that make your home uniquely yours. Visit SaatchiArt.com and get 10% off your first order with code THISOLDHOUSE. That's 10% off at SaatchiArt.com. SaatchiArt.com.
If you've ever moved and thought there has to be a better way, there is. From LAist and APM, American Public Media, it's This Old House Radio Hour. I'm Jen Largis. The secrets movers wish you knew before they showed up.
We get so many people that just say, oh, I've made it easy. I've put all my stuff in trash bags, but you're moving and you're throwing out stuff left and right. No one's going to know on move day if that's a bag of trash.
Some houses shelter us, others change the way we see the world. Author Susan Orlean restores a mid-century masterpiece.
We found old photographs of the house and realized that there was beautiful wood underneath and that Schindler had not wanted it painted.
Wallpaper is back and it's easier than you think. The DIY you've been avoiding just got simpler. We'll tell you how. All this plus we're answering your home improvement questions at 877-864-7460. Coming up right after the break. It's This Old House Radio Hour. I'm Jen Largis. Whether you're moving out of town, moving into your dream home, or downsizing, we've all experienced moving. Annually, roughly 26 million people have moved into a new apartment, a home, or a condo. If you're planning a move this year or a few years down the road, we asked Claire McDevitt from Move-tastic in Chicago, a moving coordinator with over 15 years of experience, to join us. So, Claire, what is the number one mistake that people make when they are preparing for a move?
They don't take time for the move itself. Moving is one of the most stressful things you can do in your life, and people really love to pair it with another major stressor in life. So usually they're getting married or they're weeks away from having a baby and they've picked a move date that's right next to their due date. So take the time to really plan for it.
With that in mind, are there any necessary items or tools that you think people should have if they're either moving themselves or hiring a professional?
Your standard tool bag should really cover you. A Phillips head, a flathead, and an Allen key wrench kit. I always, when I buy furniture and I assemble it, I just save whatever pieces they gave me to put it together, put it in a bag and label it. So when your movers need it to take it apart or you need to take it apart, you have the tools already ready to go.
I think at this point, we all have a giant bag of Allen head wrenches and hex head. I mean, yes. They come with everything. So I've collected many.
Yeah.
But what else do we need to keep in mind when we're trying to move and pack furniture?
I would suggest you hire movers and let them do the heavy lifting for you. But if you are moving yourself, you're going to want to shrink wrap. If you're renting your own truck, they should provide you or sell you moving blankets to make sure you're wrapping and protecting everything, not just for the furniture itself, but think about your home. And especially if you're moving yourself, you're going to graze up against a few walls trying to get your balance carrying a sofa. And you don't want to nick a wall that's going to impact your closing or your security deposit. Online, they usually sell like lifting kits that our movers don't use those, but it is a great tool if you're more of a novice moving that kind of gives you like an extra strap to take some weight off your back.
So in your professional opinion, if you're moving something that has drawers or things inside it, are we removing all of those items? If it's, say, a dresser full of clothes, are we emptying all the drawers?
We're emptying those drawers. So,
okay.
That's adding more weight, not only to you or the person lifting it, but also it's adding stress in the drawer itself. So if that's an antique, those bottoms are old and you're putting more weight on them as you're lifting them. So make life easier for everyone and just take those items out and pack them so that it's easier to lift and move and be as safe as possible.
So thinking of other things that you need to sort of take out of the cabinets and package up, pots and pans come to mind. Is there a special way to wrap and package those so that they're not getting, scratched, dented, or damaged?
Yeah, packing paper is a really great option you can purchase. There's no ink or anything on that, so it's a great way to pack as well as cushion your items so that things don't shift around in the box. And then you can also use it to wrap and protect pieces so nothing gets scratched or nicked or damaged. It's how I wrap like glassware and plates when I'm moving them as well.
Any tips for ways to pack clothing?
Clothing, start with your suitcases and your duffel bags. Anything that you would bring on an airplane is a great way to move your clothing itself. And then after that, go to boxes. We get so many people that just say, oh, I've made it easy. I've put all my stuff in trash bags. But you're moving and you're throwing out stuff left and right. And no one's going to know on move day if that's a bag of trash or that's your favorite items in your wardrobe. Plus, those bags can rip and tear and you can't stack them on a truck. So it does not utilize the space on your truck itself. Also, ask your moving company or purchase some wardrobe boxes for yourself. Those are literally like moving your closet on a truck. So you're going to have a hanger bar on there. So anything you take off the hanger, you can put into the box and then out of the box and into your new home. I always tell people like medium boxes are great for clothes, anything. If you can lift the box and move it, then you can assume a mover can lift it. For fragile items, invest in those smaller boxes and also invest in dish pack boxes. Those are double corrugated, so it's double walled cardboard. So it's going to give you an extra level of protection on those dishes or anything fragile.
Are there ways that you can strategically pack to actually make unpacking easier?
Yes, label. All boxes that you're purchasing for moving should come with lines where you can check off the room. You can write the contents on there, label all the rooms with signage before the movers or your friends get there. So then they can match the name on the box, the name on the room to help put things away and have them ready to be unpacked as efficiently as possible. I always tell our customers, if you wouldn't check it on an airplane, you shouldn't have movers move it and you should know where that is at all times. So before anyone arrives to help you move or before you start moving, make sure you know where all your documents are in case you need to close. We've loaded quite a few trucks and then had to unload them because someone didn't realize they needed their passport or their checkbook. And then you were working twice to get you what you need.
How long does it really take to pack up and unpack a house, do you think?
I would say almost a day a room is what for a novice I would really budget for. I think is probably a good way to think about it. If you can afford it, I would look into hiring movers. And it's because having someone come in your home for a day and pack your whole house where it would take you a month is a really nice luxury if you can afford to do it. If you can't, which is completely normal in most people, then plan ahead and just save yourself the headache.
When you're looking for a moving company, is there any kind of hallmark that you should look for on their listing? Any kind of insurance coverage, certification, any way to know if they're legit?
So for moving locally, you want to look for a license number, an ICC number. You want to ask about workers' compensation coverage because you don't want someone to get hurt in your home and the company you're hiring doesn't have any insurance for them. You want to make sure that they have general liability coverage. So if anything gets damaged in and out of a home that they're moving in, that's covered. That's separate from your goods. That's property damage, and every company should be covered for that. If you're moving across state lines, that gets a little bit trickier, and there are basically carriers and brokers. Brokers are salespeople. They're not movers. So they're going to estimate you as cheap as possible, and then they're going to sell your move to a carrier who are going to take your stuff, and they're going to deliver it when it's convenient for them, which could be 5 to 6 weeks. Anyone can look up a motor vehicle number on a truck moving company and see how many power units they have. Those are the trucks. So if a company has 0 trucks, it means that they're not moving your items. They're not invested in moving your items. Where a carrier is moving your goods, they are going to give you a better level of service. They sometimes are more expensive, but they are going to get your items from point A to point B and be more transparent with you.
Well, Claire, thank you so much for being here. This is great information.
Yeah, of course. It was great to chat with you.
That was Claire McDevitt from New City Movers. For more moving tips, go to thisoldhouse.com. Right now, we're answering your home improvement and DIY questions. Call us at 877-864-7460. That's 877-864-7460. Hello, you're on This Old House Radio Hour.
Hi, this is Ron Harrison from Atlanta, Georgia.
Hey, Ron, what's your question today?
About 2 years ago, a big limb fell through my house.
Oh, no.
And I have an A-frame kind of a house. So we had to fix the roof, meaning that the beams had to be replaced and the slats between the beams had to be replaced. There's no attic. It's just directly next to the shingles above. Anyway, so a new roof was put on. And now, particularly in the fall and winter, when it's kind of been cold at night and then the sun hits the roof, the beams start to sweat. I think water condenses on them and it drips. So I'm wondering, what could I do? Because it's dripping on my hardwood floors, it's dripping on furniture.
Yeah.
On rainy days, it doesn't drip. On cloudy days, it doesn't drip. It's just sunny days when that gets hot. And I'm trying to figure out what I can do to stop the dripping off the beams.
Well, we've got Zach Detmore, a general contractor for the show, here to help us out.
Great.
Zach, have you ever heard of this?
Is this a true A-frame house?
It's kind of a rambler, I guess is what it is. On the bedroom side of the house, it has a typical attic. But in the middle part where the living room and the dining room is, they didn't put an attic there. They just left kind of the rafters and then put slats in between them and then put the roof on top of it. They just did not put the attic part there in the center of the house.
So it's like a vaulted ceiling in the area we're discussing.
Correct. That's probably better to run an A-frame vaulted ceiling, yes.
Okay. How old was the roof before this happened? And was the whole roof in the area replaced?
Yeah, it was. The whole house roof was replaced during this. And I've been in the house 25 years. When I moved in a couple of years later, I replaced the roof. Then 15 years after that, I replaced the roof. So, it was only 2 or 3 years old. But I've never had the problem with the other two roofs. One other thing, when I open the windows or I run the air conditioner, when I get some air movement, then it stops dripping.
Got it. So it's when the air is stagnant?
And it's like you get on a ladder to get up there. It's like you're sitting in a greenhouse.
It's humid up there.
Very humid. Now, when you get down down to floor level, it's not so humid. So, I'm really cheap. So I don't run my air conditioner. I don't run my heat unless I'll open the windows. I'll try to use it natural. But I suspect if I ran my air conditioner all the time, I probably would get that humidity down.
And you're in a very humid climate.
Atlanta. Yeah. Atlanta certainly has humidity.
The first thing that came to mind, but I'm not positive about this, is the underlayment under your asphalt shingles changing potentially when this roof was replaced.
Right.
So if they used a self-adhered membrane like an ice and water shield, that's pretty much 100% vapor impermeable. And so are a lot of the synthetic roof underlayments that are on the market. Whereas something like a builder's paper, a tar paper, maybe something that would have been on there in the past would be a little bit more vapor open and less airtight. And it would allow that whole assembly to breathe and dry out better. When was the house built? Sorry if I forgot that.
I think 47.
47. So potentially, if a tree fell on this, originally you could have had plywood or 3/4 inch 1x sheathing on the outside of this, that sort of pretty paneling that's sitting above your beams. And that is also better at dispersing and equalizing moisture. But if they went with an OSB product, which has a lot of resins in it, that is going to be inferior at displacing, and it's going to also trap moisture. So I think what we have now is a more vapor closed roof assembly that is creating this greenhouse.
Getting that air exchange going might be enough to sort of circulate and better help that stabilize.
Got it. Is there an automatic turn on, that would switch a humidifier on or turn the fan on?
Yeah, there are humidity sensing switches. We use them a lot in bathroom vent fans. So the bathroom vent fan will kick on automatically when there is humidity. And that's potentially, you could do something as simple as putting a bathroom vent fan somewhere up there to sort of pull that moisture out. I'd have to understand the house a little better, but they do make humidity sensing switches that you could put a sensor up there to have it kick on just when you need it to. But I definitely think you should start with that and then, see what works.
That helps. Thanks so much. I sure appreciate it.
All right. Take care.
Coming up, we answer more of your home improvement and DIY questions. Call us at 877-864-7460. 877-864-7460. That's next on This Old House Radio Hour.
Put time and care into your home projects. Don't settle for just anything on your walls. Original art is what takes a room from finished to truly complete, and Saatchi Art is where to find it. Browse thousands of affordable one-of-a-kind artworks that make your home uniquely yours. Visit SaatchiArt.com and get 10% off your first order with code THISOldHouse. That's 10% off at SaatchiArt.com. SaatChi Art.com.
Today's episode is supported by Quo, spelled Quo, the modern alternative to run your business communications. Quo understands just how much the basic stuff matters, like how you should talk to customers and keep your team on the same page. Their cleaner, more modern setup can make everything feel smoother and bring the level up mindset to your business. Quo allows your entire team to handle calls and texts from one shared number, so there's no more missed messages or disconnected conversations. Since everyone sees the full thread, replies are faster and customers feel genuinely cared for. Make this the year where no opportunity and no customer slips away. Try Quo for free, plus get 20% off your first 6 months when you go to quo.com/thisoldhouse. That's QUO.com/thisoldhouse. Quo. No missed calls, no missed customers.
Did you know that skincare can start in the laundry room? All Free Clear is the #1 laundry detergent brand recommended by dermatologists, allergists, and pediatricians for sensitive skin. All Free Clear is 100% free of dyes and perfumes. It provides an effective clean that's gentle on skin while removing impurities like dirt and body oil without leaving irritating residues. Plus, All Free Clear liquid is Safer Choice certified by the U.S. EPA. For a clean you can feel good about, all you need is All Free Clear.
It's This Old House Radio Hour. I'm Jen Largis. Right now we're answering your home improvement and DIY questions. Call us at 877-864-7460. That's 877-864-7460. Hello, you're on This Old House Radio Hour.
Hi, this is Kathy Asher from San Diego, California.
Hi, Kathy. What's your question today?
My question is regarding oil-based paints. I purchased a home that was built in 1964, and my husband and I are do-it-yourselfers, and the oil-based paint has been the bane of my existence. I have done everything right. I've done everything right. I've done the cleaning, the scratching, the best primer I can find, and this paint is just peeling off of everything. So I'm putting obviously water-based paint over oil-based paint. I have to redo all of my window sills, all my door jambs. My bathrooms are a nightmare. It's just peeling off. So help me, please.
Oh, no. All right. Well, we've got Mauro Henrique, the painter for the show, and Zach Detmore, a general contractor for the show, both on the line to help. Mauro, you've seen this. You know what's going on here.
No idea how much I have done over the years with bad decision. I'll put water base or whatever on top of the old oil-based paint. There's a no, ever. Doesn't work. I mean, it's what we call a painter's holiday. All right.
This is what this problem put Mauro's 15 children through Harvard.
But they don't recognize that. They don't say, "Hey, I'm smart enough." So, no, there is a serious problem, but it's very, very easy to correct that. All right. Number one, water base doesn't go on top of the oil ever. All right. There is a process to do. In your case, unfortunately, you're going to have to strip that whole coat of paint off, especially doors and door trim or baseboards. And there's a process. We suffer a lot, especially painters, that we come to a house in oil-based paint and we'll look at it and say, is. Sometimes you say, "Sorry, I'm too busy. I'm not going to have time to do it." Because, but then you feel bad for the person that's there, right? I said, I had a good heart. I said, all right, I'm going to help you out. But it's a process. One of the greatest things that I found in all this 35 years on what I do was a bonding primer. Many people said, what is a bonding primer? It's just an acrylic primer with a urethane reinforced. And this primer goes specific on top of the oil-based surface with no problem. The only thing that you have to do, you have to wait at least 24 hours, right? But you skip all the headaches, the peeling paint. Probably what you have there is like some schmuck came and put some paint on your wall. They say, oh, you owe me $5,000, right? And you never hear from them anymore. You can try to find them. You won't find them, right?
Right.
You said you abraded the surface and you did use a primer, correct? You were pretty confident that you did everything accurately and it's still sheeting off.
Correct, but I did not use a bonding primer. I used your everyday primer, high-end primer.
Just like a regular primer, right?
Correct.
Yeah, that's...
Dun, dun, dun.
That's mistake number one.
Wouldn't it be nice if they didn't make
4,000
4,000 primers? I've been in this industry for 25 years. I don't think I've used the same primer more than once.
No, there's enough to go
Because they
around. You
don't
can
work.
use a
Enough
new
to
one every
do-
day.
Yeah, like for my kids for Christmas, I have an advent calendar of primers.
Primers.
Every day they get 25 different primers.
And none of them are compatible.
None
And
of
none of them go over oil.
Oh, man. So what I need to do is strip off the water-based paint. I did see an old episode of This Old House where they used a paper, especially on door jambs and window jambs, where they put the stripper on and then they put a paper overlay and then you let it dry and you're able to peel that off. Is that something that would work in this instance?
Yeah, that was me doing that long time ago.
A young Morrow.
Young me. I'm still looking good.
Was
You
that
look,
you?
you look the exact same, Morrow.
Yeah, that was a product. Actually, that was a water-based product. And you put on the surface, and then you get the laminated paper. You put it on top, let it cook for about 25, 30 minutes, and then you pull the whole thing out. But it pulls more than you desire for. It pulls everything out. It takes about 5, maybe 10 coats of paint in one application because it cooks, it penetrates.
That sounds like
Great.
It pulls right off. But it's a lot of work. You might as well get like a bonding primer, strip all the paint, the existing paint on your trim and doors, respect the drying time, and then you go on top with any water-based paint that you like. Bye, Kathy. Good luck with your project.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
good luck.
Bye.
Call us now at 877-864-7460. 877-864-7460. Hello, you're on This Old House Radio Hour.
Hi, my name's Aislinn Colgan, and I'm calling from Ithaca, New York.
Hi, Aislinn. What's your question today?
FEMA recently updated the flood maps for our neighborhood, and our house is now in a flood zone with an anticipated 3+ feet of water. And so me and my partner were thinking about ways we could address this, and one of the things was to try to lift up the house. And the house is about 120 years old. So we're just wondering what people think about that idea and how realistic is that as a flood mitigation strategy.
Okay. Well, to help answer your question, we have Zach Detmore, a general contractor for the show, here on the line.
Yeah, this is a bummer. I'm sorry this is happening. So you own a house, the maps were changed.
Yep.
And now the house is in a floodplain. And does that change your homeowner's insurance premiums significantly?
Yeah, well, everyone was mandated to get flood insurance, and the whole neighborhood, everyone's got different feelings about it, but yeah, we all had to get flood insurance.
And is that flood insurance would go away if you were to lift your house?
Oh, that's a good question. I'm not sure. I don't.
Or maybe
don't
the
know.
premiums would fall, perhaps.
There might. Yeah, that's what I'm hoping. And honestly, I'm just wanting. I don't want my house to fill with water. I've spent time in places where people have had floods, and it's a lot of work, and it doesn't ever really feel like you get it all out.
Yes, 100%. So I think there's an emotional component to this that ties into selling the house, moving, the inconvenience. So there's that part, and then there's a financial component, which is how much does the flood insurance cost, and what is that going to cost over your expected time in the house? What is the value of the house if you don't lift or modify it versus if you do? And those are sort of the considerations I would have. So I would be curious to know if your flood premium is X. If you raise the house, does that fall and help cancel out the cost of lifting the house? The nice thing about lifting the house is it is something you can get a proposal for. The thing to understand, which isn't always clear to me, is what is the collateral damage to the house when you lift it? Certain houses, I believe you can just lift them up in the air, and that's somewhere between, I would say, $30,000 and $130,000. I'm speculating that maybe that might be the type of thing that's slightly less in my area because I'm in New Jersey, next to rivers, next to the coast, where people are lifting houses all over the place since Hurricane Sandy. So there's maybe more competition. I think a good place to start is have a conversation, because you might find that they'll say, we can lift your house, it's this price, and we're going to gut the whole first floor because we need to structurally support these walls to make sure nothing's swaying, and we have these lift points. And so then you're not only talking about lifting the house, but you're talking about renovating the first floor, and maybe you don't have a budget that would support building it back the way it was. So now you're left with a house that's not only higher, but a house that looks different. And maybe you hate your kitchen and you're excited about the fact you're going to get the opportunity to renovate it. Or if you're in love with it, then this is a major deterrent. So I think I would start a fact-finding mission about what does it cost to lift? If you lift it, what collateral damage is happening to not only the house, but the property? Are we damaging mature landscaping? Are we bringing in heavy equipment that's going to wreck your driveway, and then you have to replace the driveway, and then contrast that against the emotional side, moving, or what the house is worth lifted versus not lifted. But there's a lot to this.
Yeah, I think people don't think about the snowball effect of lifting a house, whether it's interior, like you said, exterior, landscaping, driveway, all of those things, I'm sure, can't just be untouched. They have to be able to do this extreme work. So it's definitely something to ask all those questions up front, get a full picture. She hung up on us.
Yeah.
She didn't want to hear.
I thought you were supposed to be upbeat and helpful. What the heck?
Yeah, what kind of
Very expensive.
Yeah, but having someone come in and give you that information just so that you can use it as you weigh your pros and cons here. And then also calling your insurance company and saying, hey, if I did this work, what would that change my premiums and by how much? It might help you sort of sort through your feelings on which option you might go with.
Yeah, and I'd be curious to know if there's any funds available through the state or the government that would offset the lifting.
Yeah, that's a great suggestion. I hadn't thought about that there might be some support for that.
Yeah, but I would say the best thing you could do right now is start putting numbers into the different options. Has my house lost value? If I lifted, it costs this much. And that, and what's the inconvenience of that? I have to move out. Where am I living? Am I paying the rent? Is my homeowner's insurance paying the rent? Am I moving in with my in-laws? She drives me nuts. I can't spend time with her. Factor that all in, and it will become clear once you have that data, what the right decision is for you and your family.
Yeah. And are there house lifting specialists, or would it just be a general contractor that I would consult?
It might be both, but it's definitely a house lifting specialist for sure. So they're gonna handle that actual work, and they may work in tandem with a mason that's local, or they may request you bring in your own general contractor if there is a renovation happening. But there will be one lifting person that is taking on that total scope of work.
Okay. All right.
Aislinn, thank you so much for your call. We appreciate the question, and having you sort through this decision, I'm sure, is difficult.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate the advice, and I will look into all those things. Thanks.
All right. We wish you luck.
Good luck. Sorry about that.
You can call us now at 877-864-7460. That's 877-864-7460. Hello, you're on This Old House Radio Hour.
Hi, I'm Trevor Sindorf from Somerville, New Jersey.
Hey, Trevor, thanks for giving us a call. What's your question today?
So first of all, thanks for taking my call. I'm a big fan of the show. I've seen every episode of This Old House and Ask This Old House. And believe it or not, after all that content, I still have questions.
That's fair. We all do.
Yeah. So the issue I have is 4 years ago, an electrician installed an EV charger in my detached garage, and it's working great. But instead of hardwiring it, he installed a 1450 receptacle and just plugged it in. And that works great. I have no complaints. But the issue I have is this year I tried to plug an RV into that same receptacle, and it didn't work.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I realized that the neutral isn't connected in the back of the box. So I'm wondering, I guess my question is everything I read on the internet confirms that an EV charger doesn't require a neutral, but would it hurt? If I connect it, is that going to screw up my car charging situation?
Okay. We've got Zach Detmore, a general contractor for This Old House, and Heath Eastman, an electrician for the show, both here to help. Heath, I suspect you have some questions.
A couple. Well, first and foremost, I'm kind of a car guy. So what did you get for an EV?
I got a Nissan, a Leaf.
The Leaf? Very nice. Yeah, those things run great. Love those.
And I'm kind of an RV guy. What kind of RV do you got?
Well, it's not my RV, so I actually have no idea.
Oh.
So on the EV charger, you are correct in what you saw. Most of them, all the ones I've seen at least, only use two hots and a ground. They don't usually require a neutral. So right. That's pretty common. So the neutral isn't there, but it's weird how the industry kind of adopted that 1450 receptacle as a standard because it has a neutral in it, and none of the chargers use them that you can buy for those level 2s for the most part. So they're giving you a cord that has a prong that's not utilized. So I understand why they didn't do it. For me, it's a little tough. If I'm installing a receptacle, I want all the terminals to be correct because you don't know what it's going to be used for down the road. Like you, plugging in an RV, you'd have no idea that there wasn't a neutral there when you're looking at a 1450 receptacle. When you see that, I ought to think that that's complete. Right.
And if I ever sell the house, then somebody else is going to walk into that same problem.
Could be. Yeah. I mean, if it's, there are different ways, maybe you can label it as EV charger. I'm not 100% sure if it's technically code. Some people say it's required because it's, the manufacturer spec says this needs the neutral. Some say not entirely. But I think it's definitely good practice to always put that on there. And certainly putting it on there isn't going to hurt the charger at all. The charger just simply isn't connected to that neutral.
Okay. Is it better practice in your experience to have it just hardwired? Should that have been done in the first place?
For me, I prefer to hardwire it, and kind of here's the reason why. When you put a receptacle in, especially if it's in the garage or somewhere else, it has to be GFCI protected as well. And when you get an EV charger, they usually have GFCI protection built into them, and the instructions usually tell you, do not connect this to another GFCI device, protected device. Mm-hmm. So by hardwiring, you're not required to install the additional GFCI protection. You're not dealing with not having the neutral in a receptacle, but you are limited to this is hardwired. You can't just do a quick and easy swap on your own. You would have to call an electrician to swap that out. But there are some pluses and minuses to it. Yeah. Given a choice, I prefer to hardwire. It just takes a couple of other variables out of it. But, again, if you're going to install the receptacle, I prefer to have everything there as seen so you can use it for other things.
Well, that sounds like I have my answer. That was easy.
Yeah, is the neutral in the box? Is it already there, just not connected?
It is. It's connected on the opposite side in the sub panel.
Okay.
So I mean, it saved the guy 15 seconds not hooking it up. So
honestly, he probably thought he was doing the right thing because it wasn't being utilized, so it's not going to hurt anything.
All right. That's great.
All right. Enjoy the Nissan.
All right. Thank you so much for lending your expertise.
If you have a question for us, leave us a voicemail on our hotline, 877-864-7460, and we can answer your question next time. Coming up, author Susan Orlean shows you her old house.
To feel that the house is sort of conveying the experience of human emotion is something really special.
That's next on This Old House Radio Hour from LAist and APM. Today's episode is supported by Quo, spelled Quo, the modern alternative to run your business communications. Quo understands just how much the basic stuff matters, like how you should talk to customers and keep your team on the same page. Their cleaner, more modern setup can make everything feel smoother and bring the level-up mindset to your business. Quo allows your entire team to handle calls and texts from one shared number, so there's no more missed messages or disconnected conversations. Since everyone sees the full thread, replies are faster and customers feel genuinely cared for. Make this the year where no opportunity and no customer slips away. Try Quo for free, plus get 20% off your first 6 months when you go to quo.com/thisoldhouse. That's quo.com/thisoldhouse. Quo. No missed calls, no missed customers.
You've put time and care into your home projects. Don't settle for just anything on your walls. Original art is what takes a room from finished to truly complete, and Saatchi Art is where to find it. Browse thousands of affordable one-of-a-kind artworks that make your home uniquely yours. Visit SaatchiArt.com and get 10% off your first order with code THISOLDHOUSE. That's 10% off at SaatchiArt.com. SaatChi Art.com.
It's This Old House Radio Hour. I'm Jen Largess. Coming up, Wallpaper is back, and it's easier than ever to install yourself, even if you rent. But first, we go to Los Angeles, California. Some homes ask you to live differently. For Susan Orlean, restoring her 1946 Rudolph Schindler house meant learning how to slow down, pay attention, and share space with another mind, one that lived nearly a century earlier.
Hi, my name is Susan Orlean. I'm a writer, and this is my old house. My husband and I stumbled into Schindler fandom pretty accidentally. We were in Los Angeles for me to work on a book, and we became very seduced by mid-century modern architecture. We saw an ad for a house that looked really striking. We went and took a look at it and fell madly in love and persuaded ourselves that it made perfect sense to buy it. Well, that was our first Schindler house, and it was a fantastic place that grew to be a little small for us. And lo and behold, through just sheer luck, a Schindler from the same year came on the market, and it was about twice as big as our first little Schindler house. And we realized that we weren't going to be happy unless we were still in a house that was architecturally as special. Living in a great piece of architecture is a really specific experience. Houses are machines for living. They need to work as a place to live. But when you couple that with a three-dimensional sculpture that addresses the question of space, view, and materials in an artistic way, picture yourself entering a beautiful painting. Schindler, he built a lot on hillsides, and the house is tucked into the hill and exposes the maximum amount of the view that you can have. You enter the house by going down about 8 steps from the street you barely see the house. And you have no idea if there's a view. You're just going down into this little outdoor entry, and the front door is modest. You open the door, and the stonework from outside continues into the foyer. It's a very compressed space, or a rather dark little entry. And then you turn your head and you're hit with this enormous view of the San Fernando Valley, of the mountains, of the city spread out below you. And, you know, it's a complete shock. You have no hint that there's a view. You feel like you're in this rather dark, cozy space, and then it just explodes. And I think that's very intentional. Our house is the raw wood, brutalist stone around the fireplaces. It's really the materials. There are clerestory windows throughout, so it really is a very glassy house. And the wood within it is mahogany, Douglas fir, plywood. It needed a lot of work, and we were renovating for almost 4 years. The first most striking thing is that the woodwork had been painted a light gray, and we found old photographs of the house and realized that there was beautiful wood underneath and that Schindler had not wanted it painted. And so we stripped the wood through the entire house, and that included the ceilings and all the walls. And that was a massive amount of work. We wanted to strike a balance between respecting the vision that he had, and because we had this resource material to consult, we really were in conversation with him. At the same time, we weren't trying to make it into a house museum. I mean, this was a house for living. The house was originally 2 separate buildings connected by a deck, but the foundation on one of those original structures had cracked and slid 6 inches. So the house was distinctly crooked, and we had to jack it up and rebuild the foundation. And the original cabinetry in the kitchen was at an angle. They tore out that original cabinetry and put in straight up and down cabinets. We found the original drawings of those cabinets and had them fabricated and returned the kitchen to its original structure. One of its interesting qualities is the entire exterior of the house is covered with grape stakes that are these rough-hewn cedar stakes that are used to stake up grapevines. Schindler did it because he wanted the house to look like it was part of the woods. And when we first saw the house, we thought, oh my God, it kind of looks like a tiki hut. It's kind of a fabulous exterior. It's very unique. Living in a Schindler house and really feeling his presence and the choices he made, you move through so many different emotions when you're in this building. The surprise of the entry, the feeling of being enveloped in the darker spaces where you feel held and cozy. There's just an experience of connecting to the space. It's just deeply emotional. You know, you can make a home anywhere that you feel loved and where you feel you can love other people or yourself, because plenty of people live alone. But to feel that the house is sort of conveying the experience of human emotion is something really special. To me, that's what home is.
That was Susan Orlean. Get her memoir, Joyride, wherever books are sold. Sandra and Jessica are the mother-daughter duo and co-owners of Wallpaper's Galore. For 30 years, they've been designing and hanging wallpaper for their clients in Dallas, Texas. They're going to tell us why you should try hanging wallpaper to create that accent wall you've been thinking about and how it might turn out to be easier than you think. So Sandra, let's start with you. Now that you've been selling and installing wallpaper for over 30 years, why do you think wallpaper is in style again?
I think that it's trended in and out so many times, but it's here to stay because they've improved the textures, they've improved the patterns. It really makes a difference in people's homes, and you can do it with just such a small amount now to make a huge impact on a difference in a space. And it just does something that paint can't do.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think people used to think of wallpaper as a whole treatment for a room. You had to do every surface. And now it feels very much more like we're using it in smaller doses at times, not always. But Jessica, how else do you think wallpaper has changed over time?
I think it's a lot more fun than it used to be. I think when people think of wallpaper, they think of, the Waverly, the grandma's house, the kitchen with the vines and the borders, which I think borders are making a comeback, sadly.
Shocking,
but
yes.
yeah, I don't know how I feel about that trend, but I think it's just so different now. It's so much more fun. And I think that there's so many new patterns that are timeless. They're things that you don't get tired of, and they stay classic for much longer than they used to.
So what are the main types of wallpaper that people can choose from?
So there's solid vinyl, vinyl coated, and then your natural textures, which are going to be your grass cloths, linens, corks, those type of materials.
Okay. And why would you choose, other than obviously the style, why would you choose one maybe over another?
So the natural textures are going to give you a lot of dimension. They do slightly show seams, but they give you lots of texture and dimension. Sometimes you don't get that with just a solid vinyl or vinyl coated.
Because a grass cloth is more of a raised pattern, whereas the vinyl is a smooth flat. Is that right?
Correct. Yes. The grass cloth actually has texture that you can feel. The solid vinyl is a great choice with little children or wet areas where you may need to scrub, or you've got cleaning supplies and whatnot, because those can be scrubbed. And the vinyl coated is a washable. So you want to be careful not to get that in an area where you're going to have to do some heavy duty cleaning, because it could damage the paper.
What kind of wallpaper is best for people who are worried about, that story of someone who tried to take down wallpaper and it was an absolute nightmare? What is the solution for them?
They don't have that problem anymore with these new grounds and the new style of paper that they're using. It peels right off. I mean, literally, if you just go to the bottom and you get a seam and you find a little corner and you kind of pull it back a little, it will literally just pull right off the entire sheet in one piece.
Giving me some confidence here.
Yeah.
And what about peel and stick wallpaper, which is intentionally marketed as temporary?
It is. I'm not a huge fan, only because you have to be extremely precise. It is a little more difficult to work with. The glue has absolutely come a long way. It is washable. It is easy to remove. There are some peel and stick like tiles, and those are a little easier to work with because those are actually 12 by 12. And so it's a much smaller area to work with than like a strip of something that's a peel and stick.
Yeah, I installed a backsplash once where I used the sticky paper that you can use to install a tile backsplash. And I found it incredibly difficult. I hate to say that, but at least when you're working with mud, you can adjust as you go, which is sounding kind of similar to wallpaper installation. You can make little movements side to side when you're lining everything up, where when it's sticky and it's going to grab, you got one shot.
Right, exactly. It's on there and then it's done.
I love that we're having that conversation because I think everyone walks in thinking that peel and stick is the beginner-friendly option. And it's interesting to hear that installing it with the glue is really a more beginner-friendly way to test out your wallpapering skills.
Yeah.
Give it a try.
Yeah. It is. It is.
Yeah.
Well, I think anyone that's put contact paper in their shelves knows that it is not fun to work with.
So what do we look for in a good quality wallpaper?
There's definitely name brands involved. I think a little bit of it is the quality always. You get what you pay for, but most of it is, it's like anything else. It's a name behind it.
Mm-hmm.
I would say manufacturers make a difference. There's definitely a higher end paper versus a lower end paper. You can feel the difference. You can tell the difference when you're installing it. The patterns line up better in a lesser expensive brand, then they tend to not match quite as well. And things look a little more plasticky than an actual like wallpaper, like a painted paper. So I think just the difference in the texture and the quality of the printing is probably the difference.
Okay. So what tools do you need to hang wallpaper?
I use a plastic smoother, an X-Acto knife, and a metal sharp edge that I can cut my straight edges with.
So not a lot of tools required for this if someone wants to give it a try.
Not at all. I would recommend a level just so that you can get your plumb line. But other than that, those are the only 3 tools you're going to need.
So what would be your biggest tips and tricks for beginners trying to hang wallpaper maybe for the first time?
I would say start with an accent wall because it's just straight wall. Once you get that first drop level, you want to draw a plumb line which is just a level line and hang that first piece. The way the papers are produced today, they just butt right up and line up and you just keep going to the other corner. So it's actually a lot easier than it used to be. And there's a lot of great YouTube videos out there. I usually recommend at the store for people to just watch a couple videos. There's some great ones that can get you through it. And then I tell them, if you get in a bind, give us a call. I'll walk you through it. So it's really a lot easier than it used to be.
So what about tips and tricks for putting it around? I know a lot of people get nervous about how am I going to put and size this around electrical outlets, vents, things like that.
Yeah, there's no issues with that. You just want to be careful whenever you're hanging over an outlet cover that when you mark your place where you need to cut it, you want to pull the paper away from that plug when you actually cut it because your blade obviously is metal and you don't want to hit that. Even if you don't hit the power plug, sometimes it gives you a little bit of a shock. So I just say pull that paper back and then cut it after you kind of draw it with a pencil and then just smooth it down and you put your cover back on and you're good to go.
Have you ever worked with a really difficult pattern that's almost impossible to line up?
Yes, quite often, actually. And sometimes the manufacturer does a miscut where you match one part of the pattern and then the next part doesn't match. And it's extremely frustrating. But if they miscut that, when they're manufacturing it at all, then it's off a little bit. But you have to realize that it is still wallpaper and it is being mass produced. So at the end of the day, you want to get it up and you want to get it as close to perfect as you can. And then when you step back and you visualize the whole wall and you see it, it all just blends and it looks beautiful.
Are there any other major mistakes that people make when they're trying this for the first time?
I think the biggest mistake that I've seen is that people don't push the paper tight enough at the ceiling and at the base. And so when they go to cut, sometimes it leaves like little gaps. So you just want to be sure when you're using your plastic smoother that you get the paper really tight at the top and bottom before you use your straight edge to cut. So you get a really nice clean cut and you want to be sure and snap those blades so that you've got a sharp knife.
Sandra and Jessica, do you have a simple fix for installing wallpaper?
I would just say to people, have courage. You can do this. You've got this. Don't be scared. Don't feel like you're rushed to do it. Know that you have time once you glue it. Know that if you make a mistake, you can always just do another drop. Definitely give it a shot. I mean, I think everyone can do this. You can watch a video, try it. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised how easy it actually is and how big of a difference it can make in your home for a minimal amount of money if you do it yourself.
We love DIYs that are easier than we thought they would be.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, Sandra and Jessica, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Have a great one.
That was Sandra and Jessica, the mother-daughter wallpaper experts at Wallpapers Galore in Dallas, Texas. For more information about modern wallpaper techniques, go to thisoldhouse.com. And now it's time for one last thing, my favorite tool.
Hi, Jen. It's Mark McCullough, the show's Mason, and this is my favorite tool. A favorite tool of mine is what we call a ladder jack. If I need to paint something in a high area and there's a 6 or 8 foot span, I'll set up 2 ladders, install these ladder jacks. I'll put a plank on top of them, and that way I'll be able to walk the span that I need to paint instead of moving the ladder time after time after time.
We'll see you next week on This Old House Radio Hour. Our show is distributed by and co-produced by LAist Studios and APM, American Public Media. This Old House Radio Hour was created and produced by Ember 20. Listen to new episodes of the podcast every Tuesday on your app of choice. You can follow This Old House on all the socials at This Old House, all one word. We'll see you next week.